A variety show, also known as variety arts or variety entertainment, is entertainment made up of a variety of acts, especially musical performances and sketch comedy, and is normally introduced by a compère or host. Other types of acts include magic, animal and circus acts, acrobatics, juggling and ventriloquism. The variety format made its way from Victorian-era stage to radio to television. Variety shows were a staple of anglophone television from its early days into the 1980s. While still widespread in some parts of the world, the proliferation of multi-channel television and evolving viewer tastes affected the popularity of variety shows in the United States. Despite this, their influence has still had a major effect on late-night television where late-night talk shows and NBC's comedy series Saturday Night Live have remained popular fixtures of North American television. History: the format is basically that of music hall in the United Kingdom or vaudeville in the United States. Variety in the UK evolved in theatres and music halls, and later in working men's clubs. Most of the early top performers on British television and radio did an apprenticeship either in stage variety, or during World War II in Entertainment's National Service Association. In the UK, the ultimate accolade for a variety artist for decades was to be asked to do the annual Royal Command performance at the London Palladium Theatre, in front of the monarch. In the United States, former vaudeville performers such as the Marx Brothers, George Burns and Gracie Allen, W.C. Fields, and Jack Benny honed their skills in the Borscht Belt before moving to talkies, to radio shows, and then to television shows, including variety shows. In the 1960s, even a popular rock band such as the Beatles undertook this ritual of appearing on variety shows on TV. In the United States, shows featuring Perry Como, Milton Berle, Jackie Gleason, Bob Hope, and Dean Martin also helped to make the golden age of television successful. From 1948 to 1971, The Ed Sullivan Show was one of CBS's most popular television series. Using his no-nonsense approach, Ed Sullivan allowed many acts from several different mediums to get their 15 minutes of fame. Sullivan was also partially responsible for bringing Elvis Presley and the Beatles to prominence in the United States. Sid Caesar pioneered the television variety show format with Your Show of Shows and Caesar's Hour. ABC aired The Hollywood Palace, an hour-long show broadcast weekly from January 4, 1964, to February 7, 1970, where the Rolling Stones first appeared on American TV. In the UK, The Good Old Days a Euro, which ran from 1953 to 1983 a Euro featured modern artists performing dressed in late Victorian early Edwardian costume either doing their own act or performing as a music hall artist at that period. The audience was also encouraged to dress in period costume in a similar fashion. On television, variety reached its peak during the period of the 1960s and 1970s. With a turn of the television dial, viewers around the globe could variously have seen shows and occasional specials featuring Dinah Shore, Bob Hope, Bing Crosby, Perry Como, Andy Williams, Julie Andrews, The Carpenters, Olivia Newton-John, John Denver, John Davidson, Mac Davis, Bobby Goldsboro, Linda Carter, Johnny Cash, Sonny and Cher, Bob Monkhouse, Carol Burnett, Rod Hull and Emu, Flip Wilson, Lawrence Welk, Glenn Campbell, Donnie and Marie Osmond, Barbara Mandrell, Judy Garland, The Captain and Tennille, The Jacksons, The Keane Brothers, Bobby Darin, Sammy Davis, Jr., Mary Tyler Moore, Dean Martin, Tony Orlando and Dawn, The Smothers Brothers. Danny Kaye, Des O'Connor, Buck and Roy, Roy Hudd, Billy Dainty, Max Wall. Manhattan Transfer, Starland Vocal Band, or The Muppet Show. Even the Brady Bunch had a variety show. Variety shows were once as common on television as westerns, courtroom dramas, suspense thrillers, sitcoms, or reality TV shows. During the 1960s and 1970s, there were also numerous one-time variety specials featuring stars such as Shirley MacLaine, Frank Sinatra, Diana Ross, and Mitzi Gaynor, none of whom ever had a regular television series. Modern U.S. variety shows began to fade from popularity during the 1970s, when research began to show that variety shows appealed to an older audience that was less appealing to advertisers. Over the course of the so-called rural purge, several of the early-era variety shows were cancelled, though newer ones continued to be created and broadcast for several years after. By the late 1970s, even these generally celebrity-driven variety shows had mostly ended production, in part because of audience burnout. By the early 1980s, the few new variety shows being produced were of remarkably poor quality, hastening the format's demise. Since Pink Lady, only a few traditional variety shows have been attempted on television programs. Dolly, which ran for 23 episodes on the ABC television network during the 1987-88 season. A revival of The Carol Burnett Show, which was broadcast by CBS for 9 episodes in 1991. And the first incarnation of The Wayne Brady Show, which was telecast by ABC in August 2001. By the 21st century, the variety show format had fallen out of fashion, due largely to changing tastes and the fracturing of media and audiences that makes a multiple-genre variety show impractical. Even reruns of variety shows have generally not been particularly widespread. TV Land telecast briefly some variety shows upon its beginning in 1996, but within a few years, those reruns stopped. Similarly, CMT held the rights to Hee Haw but telecast very few episodes. The current rights holder of Hee Haw, RFD-TV, has been more prominent in its telecasts of the show. RFD-TV also airs numerous other country-style variety shows from the 1960s and 1970s up through the present day, in a rarity for modern television. Another notable exception is The Lawrence Welk Show, which has been telecast continually in reruns on the public broadcasting system since 1986. The Spanish-language variety show Sabedo Gigante, which began in 1962, and then moved from Chile to the United States in 1986, will continue to produce and broadcast new episodes on Univision until its pending cancellation in September 2015. However, though the format had faded in popularity in prime time, it thrived in late night. The variety shows of this day part eventually evolved into late-night talk shows, which combine variety entertainment with the aspects of a talk show. The Emmy Awards organization considers the two genres to be related closely enough that it awards the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Variety, Music or Comedy Series to any of these types of show. Although only one network had a successful late-night talk show until 1992, the field greatly expanded beginning with Carson's retirement and the controversial selection of Jay Leno as Tonehte unregistered trademark as new host. Within 10 years, all of the big three networks, along with several cable outlets, had late-night variety talk shows being shown nightly. After ceding his hosting role on The Tonight Show to Conan O'Brien in 2009, Leno began hosting The Jay Leno Show, a late-night styled program broadcast by NBC in the final hour of prime time. In early 2010, after poor viewership and a dispute with Conan O'Brien surrounding a plan to move The Jay Leno Show into late night and push back the remainder of NBC's late-night lineup, the series was cancelled and Leno returned to The Tonight Show. As of 2014, late-night talk shows vary widely on their resemblance to the original variety format, with Jimmy Fallon's incarnation of The Tonight Show putting heavy emphasis on sketches and stunts, while shows such as Late Night with Seth Meyers focus more heavily on the talk aspects. Sketch comedy series such as Saturday Night Live, In Living Color, Almost Live, MAD-TV and SCTV also contain variety show elements, particularly musical performances and comedy sketches. The most obvious difference between shows such as Saturday Night Live and traditional variety shows is the lack of a single lead host and a large ensemble cast. SNL has used different guest hosts ever since its inception. The variety show format also continues in the form of the telethon, which feature variety entertainment interspersed with appeals for viewers to make donations to support a charity or cause. The Jerry Lewis MDA telethon was one of the best-known national telethons, but it too was eventually cancelled after several years of shortening and only a handful of long-established local telethons remain. In 2004, ABC's The Nick and Jessica Variety Hour attempted to revive the primetime Variety Hour as a special for today's generation. It was followed by Nick and Jessica's Family Christmas in early December of that year, though no further specials would be produced after that due to the couple's divorce. NBC's Rosie Live did not fare so well. The series' pilot episode was telecast the day before Thanksgiving Day in 2008 and, after being panned by critics, it was not purchased. In December 2009, the singer Carrie Underwood made her first attempt at a Christmas variety special on Fox. Maya Rudolph hosted a variety special for NBC in 2014. Fox's Osbournes Reloaded, a variety show featuring the family of rocker Ozzy Osbourne, was cancelled after only one episode had been telecast in 2009. More than 24 affiliates refused to telecast the first episode of the show. This series had been slated for a 6-episode run. Shows that have had varying degrees of success combining variety entertainment with other formats include Star Search, which had a run in the 1980s in syndication and a run on CBS in the early 2000s during the reality television boom, and The Gong Show, which reached its peak in the 1970s, but it has had occasional revivals since then. NBC's series America's Got Talent crosses the concept of a variety show with a format of reality competitions such as American Idol. The Richard Bay Show combined the variety show with the tabloid talk show, not only having its guests talk about their problems but also having them participate in absurdist games, and Sally Jessy Raphael was known for occasionally having music and fashion the show, especially drag and gender-bending performances. In May 2014, NBC aired The Maya Rudolph Show, a variety show starring SNL performer Maya Rudolph. The broadcast was intended to be a one-off special, but with the possibility of additional episodes depending on its performance. This was the first attempt in nearly 6 years by NBC to bring this concept back to television, having struck out back in 2008 with Rosie Live. The special pulled in 7.23 million viewers in its 10 p.m. time slot, making it the third most watched program of the night. In the 2015-16 season, NBC will air an hour-long variety show, Best Time Ever, starring actor Neil Patrick Harris. Other countries. Australia. The primetime variety show format was popular in the early decades of Australian television, spawning such series as In Melbourne Tonight, The Graham Kennedy Show, The Don Lane Show, and Hey Hey It's Saturday, which ran for 27 years. Recent primetime variety shows include the short-lived McCall Tonight and The Side Show. Taiwan. Another of today's variety shows in Asia is Taiwan's Guess and 100% Entertainment. East Asian variety programs are known for its constant use of sound effects, on-screen visuals and comedic bantering. Many of the shows are presented in a live-like presentation in a fast-paced setting, with scenes repeating or fast-forwarded. Another popular variety show in Taiwan is Kangxi Lila, a talk show with variety show elements. The hosts and guests were associated with variety shows. Famous for its bantering, which was written before tapings. Hong Kong. The first Chinese variety show to become a major success was Hong Kong's Enjoy Yourself Tonight, which first aired in 1967 and ran for 27 years. In Hong Kong, variety shows are often combined with elements of a cooking show or a talent competition but end in various results. Japan. Variety programming has remained one of the dominant genres of television programming. While Japanese variety shows are famous abroad for their wild stunts, they vary from talk shows to music shows, from tabloid news shows to skit comedy. The prominent use of telep on screen has created a style that has influenced variety programming across Asia. One of the most popular variety show in Japan includes Downtown no Gaki no Tsukai. South Korea. In South Korea, the hugely popular show Muhandajian, has been broadcast by MBC since 2005, is a new model of this, called Real Variety Show. It combines comedy and variety scenes including unscripted stunts. Although many variety shows have existed in Korea long before the broadcast of Muhandajian, this program has given a rise to a new page in the history of Korean variety shows by introducing unscripted stunts. As a result, other broadcasting channels such as KBS and SBS have followed its path and introduced programs such as Il Bagay Il and Running Man. These types of Korean variety shows especially running man are grabbing foreign interest of countries such as Japan, China, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore and even the United States, bringing on a new type of the Korean wave globally. Philippines Variety shows are a huge part of daily life in the Philippines, with all of the major networks running their own variety shows usually during lunchtime and can be on the air for between 1.5 hours to 3 hours. The most notable Philippine variety show is the longest-running Eat Bulaga, which premiered in 1979 and has aired on APN, ABS-CBN, and GMA Network in the succeeding years. Recently many other TV networks are different formats of variety. Its Showtime has shown great popularity and interest to Filipino viewers. Mexico Siempre en Domingo premiered in 1969 with Raul Valesco hosting. It became Mexico's longest-running variety series, remaining on Televisa until 1998. Other long-running variety shows, most of which have been Televisa productions, have included La Carabina de Ambrosio, Annabelle, Al Fin de Semana, Silvia y Enrique, La Parodia, Moravette, Desmadruga 2 and Sabadazo. Most, if not all, of Televisa's variety shows have aired in other countries, including the Univision networks in the United States. Venezuela In Venezuela, the best-known variety show is Zabado Sensational. Originally established in 1968 on Radio Caracas Television, the show moved to Venevision in 1970 and was renamed Zabado Sensational. In 1990, Zapa was added to the title, and is how the show is currently known today. Chile The Spanish-language variety show known as Zarbados Gigantes began in 1962 with Don Francisco and lasted into the 1990s. His daughter, Vivian Kreutzberger, currently hosts the program under the title Gigantes Convivi, while Don Francisco has hosted the U.S. version since 1986. Many television specials continue to resemble the variety show format to this day. See also, Variety Artists Club of New Zealand, a club for variety performers and entertainers. Variety, the children's charity, widely known as the Variety Club, a charity operated by variety performers, Japanese variety show. References